Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Hello, and welcome on in to another episode of the Wicked Boston Show here on Rogue Media Network with your host, Cam Stuart. Zach Burke, keeping us on the air from behind the glass. He's doing that every weekday live at noon Eastern time on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Happy 30th birthday to Wonderwall. I know. Most of you didn't see that one coming to start off the Wicked Boston Show. But it is 30th anniversary of Oasis releasing Wonderwall. Isn't that cool? Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about the Patriots trade deadline and the ridiculous, but maybe not so ridiculous rumor of Myles Garrett coming to New England. Well, outside of that, who are the Patriots' top 5 trade deadline targets? We know they're buying. What are they buying? Who are they looking for? Can they make the big splash? We'll go through all that. And plus, another baseball manager hire today, and another one that comes with a flashy headline. What is up with the way we're hiring baseball managers now? College coaches, 30-year-olds, former players who haven't done anything in the coaching realm. It's really odd. We're going to go through that trend. It's all coming up on the Wicked Boston Show. We start where we start. It's in the thumbnail. It's what you guys came here for. It's what you're wondering about. We are obviously a couple of days away from the NFL trade deadline. The talk around Boston has suddenly become Myles Garrett, not because he dominated the Patriots on Sunday and the Patriots still came out with a win, but because there are now some explosive rumors that the Patriots might go out and trade for Myles Garrett after that historic performance on Sunday. That was definitely some flames that was stoked by the Pat McAfee show yesterday, where he went in depth for 15 minutes talking about how Myles Garrett could be a New England Patriot. And look, let's just put it this way. The Patriots have the capital, right? They've got 10 draft picks in the next draft, but obviously they're not trading 6th rounders for Myles Garrett. It's going to take a couple of 1st-round picks. And they have the money that they can pay Myles Garrett through the rest of that 4-year contract extension that he signed with the Browns this season, which was over $180 million. So certainly from a financial standpoint and from what it would take to get him, they can do that. They can do that. If they did, it would be one of the biggest, most shocking NFL trade deadline deals in history. But when a guy gets 5 sacks against you, I guess it's enticing. When he beats your rookie left tackle, top 5 pick left tackle for a couple of them, yeah, it would be a mega deal. A mega deal. And some corners of the football world are starting to get behind it. Not just Pat McAfee on his show, one of the biggest shows in America, talking about it yesterday, same time as the Wicked Boston Show. So I think most of you are probably watching it over there. But 3-time Super Bowl champ Rob Ninkovich got in on the action as well. Apparently, Nink slid into Myles Garrett's DMs after the 5-sack performance against the Patriots and said, hey, why don't you come here? Come bring a championship back to New England. And that's where this thing gets really interesting. Because Myles Garrett does want to win. Not more than he wanted $180 million from the Browns, obviously, with that whole saga where he said he was never going to play for them again, and then they offered him a bunch of money. He said, actually, yeah, I'm good. I'll play here. But you saw it on Sunday. He literally has a 5-sack game, career high, like one of the best games of his illustrious career. He sets an NFL record for most sacks by a guy under the age of 30, beat out a Reggie White record, and yet in the 4th quarter, he is on the sidelines. People tell him he's setting this record, and he is slamming his helmet down on the sideline. Because it's so apparent now more than ever. It doesn't matter what Myles Garrett does. The Browns are going to be the Browns. As long as he is in Cleveland, they're going to suck. He's going to lose football games. He's going to do these Shohei Ohtani Angels things. What was it? Tungsten Arm O'Doyle was the tweet. Doing something that nobody's done since Tungsten Arm O'Doyle 100 years ago, and yet the Angels still lose. Like, that's what it's like for Myles Garrett playing for the Browns. Setting NFL records. They lost by 3 scores. Like, they weren't even close. They're terrible. They're, 2-6? They're awful. And they're paying a lot of money to him. And you look at the Patriots side of things, or look at the Patriots through Myles Garrett's lens here. That's a place where you can go and you can win. Right? Like, this would be, the Patriots are allegedly adding not just for this year, but for their future. And you've got Myles Garrett locked up through age 32, which is about when pass rushers are done. And they have that window before they have to pay Drake May in a couple of years where they can afford these big contracts. And they do have an eye towards the future, the next 2 or 3 years. The Patriots are Super Bowl contenders right now. Like, I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl this year, but they're absolutely in the picture where they're at right now at 6-2 and the way the quarterback is playing. I don't care what your schedule is. They're in the picture. Suddenly, kind of out of nowhere, the Patriots are a much better destination to go and win than the Cleveland Browns are. They were about even last year. So if you're Myles Garrett, you're thinking, man, I can go there and win, a team that is all in on winning in the next couple of years before they have to pay their quarterback. They've got the potential all-pro kind of quarterback, potential MVP quarterback on their side. They've got a defensive-minded head coach. They've already got a damn good defense. And we can win here. I can make my money, and I can win here. Like, the Patriots do have a very attractive situation for a lot of players across the league. And here's Myles Garrett, leads the league in sacks right now. Definitely helps that he doubled the sack total on Sunday. Been double-digit sacks every year, but his rookie year. That's the only one he didn't. And in terms of durability for a guy who's nearing the age of 30, he's played 14-plus games in 7 of his 9 seasons in the league. So he's not a guy with recurring injury issues or anything like that. And if you look at it from the Cleveland side, this is going to garner multiple first-round picks, right? This is a guy who's under contract as one of the best pass rushers in this generation, if not NFL history. And he's under contract. And what is not terrible, the 4 years, 160, that's not a terrible contract for a team. And you already have a couple first-round picks from Jacksonville, from the Travis Hunter trade. Travis Hunter trade. You've got a couple more potentially coming in from somebody trading for Myles Garrett. That is a massive part of your rebuild right there. 4 or 5 first-round picks over the next 2-3 drafts. That is humongous for a team that absolutely is rebuilding. Myles Garrett does not fit into your rebuild. By the time if all goes right, by the time you're good again, 2 years from now, maybe 3 years from now, then you're talking about a 32-year-old Myles Garrett, not a guy who's in his prime right now. So he's not going to be your best player by the time you start winning. But one of those 4 or 5 first-round picks that you could accrue through the Travis Hunter trade that you've already made with Jacksonville and a potential Myles Garrett trade with the Patriots, those guys will be a part of your future if you do it right, which is easier said than done with the Cleveland Browns, right? The thing about it also from Cleveland's side, if they do trade him, it is $68 million in dead cap next year. So do with that whatever you will. And Adam Schefter quoted a front office executive for the Cleveland Browns that said, you'd have a better chance of winning the lottery. Yet, we really haven't seen anything that says Myles Garrett's off limits. Right? Nobody's come out and said, categorically false. We're not shopping Myles Garrett. That is not going to happen. So, until that does happen, in fact, we've heard a lot more buzz about Max Crosby not being available than we have Myles Garrett. So, until that happens, the Patriots should be kicking the tires there. Who knows? Maybe he's got a relationship with Mike Vrabel from his 1 year in Cleveland. But they are one of the only teams around the league that is going to go all in the next year or two, including this trade deadline, that is willing to take on that contract. Patriots would see that and say, no problem, man. $40 million? Sure. Yeah, take it. Yeah, we'll give that to you. We'll sign the checks. Like, they are probably one of the only teams in the league that that is going after a Myles Garrett and has no problem paying him. The other would be Dallas. Once they got Micah Parsons off the books, they had the second most cap space in the league behind the Patriots. And the other part of that is they got Micah Parsons off the books. So they could use a Myles Garrett and bring him back to Texas. But it's crazy. I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, let's make that clear at the end of this segment here. I don't think the Patriots are going to trade for Myles Garrett. But the more I looked into it, the less crazy it became. Like the Patriots, it's not going to shock me at all if they make a big splash and get some depth pieces, because they do need some depth pieces. And that's probably more likely where they go. But it's not crazy to me that they make a big splash out there. And maybe it is someone like Myles Garrett. But is it crazy to you? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well as your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. Maybe it's just the fact that Pat McAfee was talking about it yesterday, but this did kind of garner some attention. It did kind of pick up some steam as the day went on, or the last 2 days have gone on, that Myles Garrett could be on the trading block and the Patriots would be a team that's interested. Of course, who wouldn't be interested? Who would not be interested in Myles Garrett? But even that video I did yesterday of Trey Hendrickson, which we'll talk about at some point in this show, a lot of the comments were Myles Garrett. I want Myles Garrett. Trey Hendrickson, too old. He's a year and a half older than Myles Garrett. Let's go out and get this guy that just torched us. It's very European soccer, like Cristiano Ronaldo crushing Man United when he was at Lisbon, and then they go out and get him. Like that's a very soccer thing to do. Once a guy beats your ass, you go out and you buy him, or in this case, you trade for him. But if you're Cleveland, I just don't know how you can shut down a Myles Garrett trade talk. And in fact, I get it. I get why they extended him this year, but if he was really dead set on winning, why are you even spending the money there? Like, he's not going to be a part of your rebuild. He's one of the best pass rushers of all time. So I get why you, in theory, want him on the roster in a vacuum, but you knew you were rebuilding. You knew this was not going to be Joe Flacco's team, Dylan Gabriel's team. You knew it wasn't going to be that. So from the Cleveland side of things, I don't think it's that crazy that they would go out and shop Myles Garrett, even though he is still one of the very best in the league. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. And then we'll get into some more reasonable trades, okay? Let's take a look next, after this short break on the Wicked Boston show. Let's take a look at the top 5 trade targets for the Patriots at the trade deadline that are a little bit more realistic than Myles Garrett. I do say only a little bit. That's coming up next on the Wicked Boston show.
Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.
A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You like.
Back to the show. Wicked Boston show is what it's called, because it's all Boston without any of the bullshit that you get in sports talk radio, your lunchtime alternative to those stations. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. Not just Boston, but Wicked Boston here. And we have been talking Wicked New England this week, Wicked Foxborough this week is what we can call the show. We talked about the Myles Garrett rumors in the first segment. Let's keep it with the Patriots and the trade deadline. It is a fun time of year. And as we all know, the Patriots are going to be buying at this trade deadline. They traded off a couple of guys that weren't fitting into their plans, and Kyle Duggar and Keon White. There you go. Traded both those guys. Should I just start that over? That was terrible. The Patriots are definitely going to be buying at this trade deadline. They've sold off Keon White. They have sold off Kyle Duggar. They've stockpiled a bunch of picks, and that does not mean they're selling. That means they are buying. They're going to make some big moves to improve this roster because right now they can go for it for the first time in years. 6-2 atop the AFC East and a very legitimate contender in the entire AFC. So now is the time. And if it's not Myles Garrett, which would be one of the greatest, biggest trades in deadline history, then who will it be? Here are the 5 biggest trade targets for the Patriots at Tuesday's trade deadline. And no, Myles Garrett does not make the list. It's a little bit more reasonable, but I only say a little bit. Number 5 comes from the New York Giants, and that is Kayvon Thibodeau. This was a dude I loved out of college, but who didn't? Like, he was picked 5th in the draft, was great at Oregon, young kid coming in, and it's been an up and down tenure with the Giants. And I think the Giants are starting to believe that he peaked back in his second year in the league in 2023. Had 11 and a half sacks that year for a bad Giants team, although that's redundant at this point. In the 20 games since then, he only has 8 sacks after 11 and a half in that one year. He classically fits the mold of a 3-4 defense, blitzing outside linebacker. Actually, much like Mike Vrabel was back in his day playing for the Patriots. Kayvon Thibodeau fits that perfectly. And obviously there is some talent there. The Giants have probably gotten, I don't want to say lucky, but have done well to find more talent at those positions, which we'll talk about in a second. But he definitely has some talent. Had a massive season back in 2023. He's still very, very young for a guy who is on the trading block and is looking for a new contract soon. But he might just need a change of scenery. And that clearly would fit the mold of the New York Giants, who doesn't need a change of scenery when they're playing for the New York Giants. And typically we've been able to say that about the Patriots the last couple of years. The Pats have gotten good production from the linebackers this year. There have been some guys that have stepped up. Robert Spillane's been good. Caleb on Chason's been good. But it's just a pretty thin group. They don't really have a lot of depth at that position. And they did narrowly avoid an injury to Harold Landry, their best pass rusher this year, back against New Orleans. It looked like he might have been out for the season with the way his knee kind of buckled under a hit, but they've avoided that. He is playing. They're still getting good production out of him, but you need some reinforcement at that position. Kayvon Thibodeau can absolutely give you that. He's still only 24, doesn't turn 25 until mid-December. And not for nothing, Ryan Cowden, part of the Patriots pro player personnel staff, knows him pretty well, was with the Giants last year. And the best part about all of it is he's probably pretty cheap. They've already replaced him with Brian Burns. He's playing a majority of the snaps there, and he's having a good year for the Giants. They also used a top 5 pick on Abdul Carter last year. So they've got talent in terms of the pass rushing linebackers. They have young, cost-controlled talent. So it probably doesn't take you very much to get Kayvon Thibodeau. I'd imagine a day 3 pick probably gets that done. And that instantly adds value to a defense that is good, but has the potential to be great with a few more pieces. I was a guy who was really high on Jalen Walker coming out of the draft instead of Will Campbell, the linebacker from Georgia. Kayvon Thibodeau kind of fits all the things I liked about Jalen Walker. So there you go. You could get the best of both worlds by trading for him at the trade deadline. But linebacker is definitely a position to focus in on. Another one that's on the offense to focus in on is running back. And that's where Jerome Ford of the Cleveland Browns comes in. A lot of options at running back. It just depends on how much you're weighing that position. Okay. You could go big, like an Alvin Kamara, maybe even a Derrick Henry. There's some long shot rumors about him. I'm not holding my breath for that one. or the almost impossible move of getting Breece Hall from within the division, a guy I really love. But it's more likely than not going to be a depth piece, a piece like Jerome Ford. Now, here's where running back gets interesting because you already signed a guy after Antonio Gibson went down. You signed Terrell Jennings last week, but he's out of elevations. You can't put him back on the practice squad. It's like being out of options for baseball players going down to the minor leagues. So you realistically need another depth piece here with Antonio Gibson out for the year. This is probably the only one on the list that doesn't really have an eye towards the future, because that's what the Patriots have said, have been rumored to have that mindset going into this trade deadline that, hey, we're not just adding for 2025 when we think we can make a run, but we've got enough money and that we are willing to go for these guys who might cost a little bit more, but will be in our system for the next couple of years. So this move doesn't have that because Jerome Ford's on an expiring rookie contract. So you could keep him on board, but it does fill a pretty big need right now at a low price. And for what it's worth, this dude's fighting for a paycheck. You know, the NFL definitely stands for not for long when you are playing running back. That average position, or that position averages about 3 years per career, as we all know. And so you don't typically get that second contract. I mean, you can go through all the once promising Patriots running backs who didn't get a second contract. So Jerome Ford will certainly be fighting for that. Good change of pace. Nothing special. 40 to 50 rushing yards per game throughout his career. 3 receptions per game through his 3.5 years. So definitely kind of fits a nice change of pace there. And for those who are not too confident, Ramondre Stevenson, how about this? Jerome Ford only has 1 fumble in his 3.5-year career. Isn't going to cost you more than a 5th or a 6th round pick and can definitely fill some holes for the Patriots offense, and specifically, obviously, that run game that does need to get a little bit better if they are truly going to compete in January in the AFC. And if you're not looking running back on offense, you're certainly looking at wide receiver. And there's all kinds of names that have been thrown out. Chris Olave, Jacoby Myers, Rashid Shaheed. I love all those names. I would be happy with any of those guys coming to the New England Patriots. But more than any, the one I'm so excited about potentially coming to New England is Brian Thomas Jr. So I don't know how seriously the Patriots are looking at receiver at the deadline. It's a pretty good room right now, or at least it's good enough that you don't want to maybe necessarily upset all that, right? Like Drake May is clearly elevating it. But if you are seriously looking at wide receiver, I would do anything to get Brian Thomas Jr. to Foxborough. He's only in his 2nd NFL season. And in year 1, he had a monster year, 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns as a rookie. And in year 1 was legitimately one of the best deep ball threats in the entire league of anyone of any age. So why does Jacksonville want to get rid of him? That's a reasonable question. I just told you about the monster year he had and the only full season he had in the league. 2nd year, 1st round pick. Why does Jacksonville want to get rid of him? Well, it's a little complicated. First off, we're still trying to figure out how badly they want to get rid of him. But mainly, his production has dipped. It's dipped in year 2. He's averaging more than a reception less per game than last year. His yards per target is 3 yards less. He's averaging over 20 yards less per game than his rookie season and only has 1 touchdown through 7 games after having 10 in 17 games last year. The Jags, perpetual rebuild. They gave up a lot to get Travis Hunter in there, and they have a different, new offensive-minded head coach this season. And if we're being honest, the numbers for Brian Thomas Jr. are probably going down because Trevor Lawrence is his quarterback. A guy that's averaging almost 10 yards a target and 15 yards of reception last year should not be seeing a massive dip in those numbers in year 2. With Drake May as his quarterback, Brian Thomas will be maximized in a way that Trevor Lawrence just can't do. He can't do it. Again, this receiver room, decent shape, but they do not have a true deep ball threat. They got rid of that when they let Tyquan Thornton walk and go to Kansas City, which is crazy to say now, but I would take Tyquan Thornton on this offense. That is for sure. Kayshon Boutte, has made some nice plays down the field. Pop Douglas and Stephon Diggs have gotten open down the field a couple of times, but you don't have a guy that takes the top off a defense who has an 80% success rate against press man coverage. And then you all of a sudden, you can't play the Patriots. You can't play them. You can't play a man. You can't play him zone. Drake May is going to pick apart all of it. And you don't have a true deep ball threat for a quarterback who has the best deep ball in football this year in Drake May. So imagine adding a guy who is actually a true take the top off the defense kind of threat. And he's 23 years old. Talk about an eye towards the future. He's in his second year in the NFL. Former first-round pick. And Bleacher Report's trade proposal is crazy. They only have the Patriots giving up a second-round pick and Marte Mapu. Are you kidding me? I'd do that in a heartbeat for Brian Thomas Jr., man. I'd pay for that crazy expensive Uber ride from Logan to Foxborough. In a second, I would do that. Wide receiver is not the number one need again, but these are the kind of guys you should go for. If that's what it's going to cost, you say, shit, man. Then I might not have to worry about getting another receiver the next 2 seasons. I might not have to. Not a big money one anyway, right? With Brian Thomas Jr. and Stephon Diggs on either side. You might not have to worry about paying $30 million to a wide receiver in free agency, which is what you were prepared to do this past season, obviously kind of did with Stephon Diggs, but that you were probably going to have to do again if you don't get someone like a Brian Thomas Jr. in through the door. For me, this is the most exciting offensive guy that the Patriots have a somewhat legit chance at getting. If that is how low the cost is going to be, you need to make this deal yesterday. Like Brian Thomas Jr.'s numbers with Trevor Lawrence are not nearly going to be the same as they are with Drake May. Drake would unleash this kid just like Thomas did in year 1 in the NFL. No doubt in my mind. He would be a phenomenal fit for the Patriots and would absolutely elevate their offense. But of course, the Patriots are looking mostly defensively at this trade deadline. And specifically within that, they are trying to look at edge rushers. Okay, they just let one go and Keon White for nothing, but he wasn't really fitting into the system. So now's your chance. Okay, you've got Kyle Duggar off the books after next year. Okay, you got more cap space than anybody anyway. You got all these draft picks. So how are you going to fix the edge rush? That leads us to number 2 on our list. The number 2 trade deadline target for the Patriots, Trey Hendrickson. We talked a lot about him yesterday. Of course, he would be near the top of this list. No one on this list of Patriots trade targets changes the team quite like Trey Hendrickson would. He is the only one so far that completely elevates what the Patriots defense could be, which is already pretty solid. He can make them great by coming into Foxborough tomorrow. Now, there are some concerns around Trey Hendrickson. First off, he's 31 years old. I'll get into why I'm not too concerned about that in a minute, but he also did just re-aggravate a hip injury on Sunday against the Jets. Those are always tricky. Never something you want to hear about, a hip injury. The good news is the Bengals don't think it's serious. Take it with a grain of salt. It's also 5 days before the NFL trade deadline that they're saying that. And despite his age, Trey Hendrickson plays a lot. I'm not so worried about age as I am about dependability. And since the start of 2023, he has started 41 games out of 41 games. And all he's done in those 41 games is put up 39 sacks. The Patriots have a good, solid, top 2 in the division kind of defense. They do. Maybe top 10. They're right outside the top 10 in a lot of the big defensive metrics in the NFL. They do not have a game wrecker anywhere near the level of Trey Hendrickson. Not even close. This guy would take them to another level. The closest thing you have is kind of a game wrecker in the middle in Milton Williams. He's played really well. You've got sort of one on the back. I don't know if you can have a game wrecker cornerback, though. But they need a guy, 3rd and 7, pin the ears back, get to the quarterback. Trey Hendrickson is that guy. The other good news with this is he is still on the market on the trade block because Cincinnati can't lock him down long term. That's the whole problem here. They can't lock him in. And as they continue to lose at 2-6 and harass their season ticket holders who are trying to cancel their tickets, I don't know if you guys saw that story. It's pretty funny. They're looking for a dance partner here who could pay Hendrickson for years to come. Enter the team with more cap space than any team in the league. For all the major trade rumors floating out there for the Patriots, Trey Hendrickson is the one that makes the most sense, in my opinion. Big splash that can happen and would make sense for both sides. Trey Hendrickson is the one that makes the most sense. But Cam, he's only number 2 on the list. What are you talking about? Because there's one other guy who's a little more enticing, but maybe a little bit more exclusive. And we are sticking with the edge rusher. The number 1 Patriots trade target in my book at this trade deadline is Max Crosby of the Vegas Raiders. Mad Max, man. How could it not be? Like, just the sniff of this guy being on the trade market, you're like, all right, let's go. Like Trey Hendrickson, he's a guy who could put your defense over the top. And at 28 years old, he has all the added benefits that Trey Hendrickson does not. Okay? He's in the prime of his career and is one of the best pass rushers in football right now, if not the best pass rusher. I mean, between him and Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, Micah Parsons, we're talking about all of them on today's show. Clearly, that's where the Patriots are focusing in on. He's led the league in tackles for loss twice, was in the league lead last year before he was shut down for the season, a little ankle injury on a bad Raiders team. In terms of that future outlook, because that's what it all comes back to, that future outlook and how the Patriots are looking at it. Signed a 3-year extension worth $106 million, but it's not going to kick in for a few years. And that will keep him locked down through 2029 when he's 32, which is the perfect amount of time to keep a pass rusher. Like that is when 31, 32, maybe 33 is when these guys really start to lose a step and they're not the same players anymore. So right now, you've got him locked in at a pretty good number, a better number than Myles Garrett for the next, through his age 32 season. So you've got him locked in for 4 years here. So that would be huge. The Patriots have shown some interest in the past, the same way kind of everybody else has. You know, there were some rumors last year that they would give up their top 5 pick for Max Crosby. And it's certainly going to cost you a first-round pick again, more than one, I would say. And the Raiders are saying, no way. No way. That's why Trey Hendrickson at number 2 feels a little bit more realistic, because the Raiders are, no way, we're not doing that. And it makes sense, but like, you're rebuilding too. And the same thing I said about Myles Garrett with the Browns, if it's going to take you 2 or 3 years to win, you're rolling the dice that Max Crosby is still going to be an effective player for you at over $30 million a year when you are about ready to win. So maybe their thought process is, okay, Cam, then pay him the money for that time and then trade him when you are good and still get some value for him. There's not going to be as much value. There's going to be a couple of first-round picks here to get Max Crosby. But the Raiders are bad. The problem with this one is not only does it feel like the Raiders aren't going to sell him, the problem with this one is half the league is in on Max Crosby. Literally, look up, Google Max Crosby trade rumors, and you'll just get an article from every team in the league. Patriots, Cowboys, Bengals to replace Trey Hendrickson after they trade Trey Hendrickson. Like it's not, every team will have some sort of buzz around Max Crosby, every team. But certainly he is the best guy kind of on the block in his prime, excellent pass rusher, and would elevate this Patriots defense like you read about. He would make that Patriots team into like a fun story, might win the division, de facto AFC contenders to, holy crap, this team could really make the Super Bowl here this year. That's what someone like a Max Crosby would do. To be fair, it's what someone like a Trey Hendrickson would do. But clearly that is where they are focused in on. Those are kind of big splash moves, for the exception of Jerome Ford in Thibodeau, I guess. But if you're looking at some of these other moves, like pass rusher Arden Key is another one that played for Vrabel in Tennessee, has had a good stretch there. Guy they really like and is cheaper than the Trey Hendricksons of the world and the Max Crosbys of the world. So he could certainly fit in. Receiver, you got all kinds of options. Chris Olave or Rashid Shaheed. I would love to have those guys. Rashid Shaheed is kind of a poor man's Brian Thomas, and I don't even mean that as a slight because he's also a big-time deep ball threat. You saw how well Olave could get open against the Patriots a couple weeks ago. Jacoby Myers not at the top of my wish list, but isn't going to cost you anything really to go in and bring him in, so I would take that as well. I know a lot of people want depth on the offensive line. So do I. You just don't get those guys at the trade deadline. Nobody's trading offensive linemen at the trade deadline. Just doesn't happen in the NFL. So those are my 5 biggest targets for the Patriots at the trade deadline. What are yours? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live every weekday, noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio is right here on the Wicked Boston Show. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week. Coming up next, there's a weird trend going around my great game of baseball. I don't know what kind of resume you need to have to be an MLB manager anymore. And I don't know if MLB knows what kind of resume you need to have to be a manager anymore. What is up with all these weird moves and where is this sport going? Let's talk about it next on the Wicked Boston Show. NFL fans, what's your favorite touchdown? For me, it's the next one. Because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props, or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. Lines and odds subject to change. Here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code CAMSHOW. That's code CAMSHOW for new customers to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort Kansas, pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone, like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show on Rogue Media Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. Not just Boston, Wicked Boston, man. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. Have a couple of minutes left here in the show, and I do want to bring up some baseball. And I know what you're thinking. Okay, this makes sense, right? Former Red Sox Mookie Betts, right in the middle of this World Series, Red Sox division rival on the precipice of winning it for the first time in over 3 decades, and it's been a pretty fun World Series so far. So obviously that's what Cam's going to talk about here. No, sorry. I've been all about kind of the odd things today. Myles Garrett trade rumors, Patriots, who they should bring in to be for their trade deadline big splash. And now I'm looking at baseball managers. What is going on in MLB when it comes to hiring managers? I thought this was kind of odd 5 or 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, maybe now, when all of these former players who didn't really have any managing experience all of a sudden became managers, right? It was like Rocco Baldelli and Mark Kotsay and like David Ross. You're just like, where is this coming from? Like, these guys, aren't you supposed to pay your dues somehow? Aren't you supposed to be a coach, maybe manage the minor leagues? Nothing. Don Mattingly had to do that. Joe Torre had to do that. And all of a sudden, we're done. We're done. You could just be a player who seemed like they liked the game and knew some stuff. And now there you go. It's getting even worse. It's getting even worse. And I don't know if it's a bad thing or not. It's just really bizarre. Earlier this offseason, the San Francisco Giants took a coach from the University of Tennessee, Tony Vitello. Like, what are we doing, man? This isn't football. This is basketball. It's never been done. The guy who has coached 0 innings of professional baseball, not a one. And he's the manager of the San Francisco Giants. His team that has a pretty good roster, like, was in the playoff hunt for a lot of last year. That's who GM, by the way, their GM is Buster Posey, like a guy who goes from being a baseball player to being a GM. Like, it's just like, does nobody pay their dues anymore? I sound like an old man yelling at the clouds. Like, what is this? What is this trend? It continues today. The Washington Nationals have hired Blake Butera as their next manager. You might remember the name from his playing days because they weren't that long ago. He's 33 years old. He's the youngest manager in baseball since 1972. They were having player managers back then. What is this? Like, what is the deal with this? And it just all kind of goes to show there's just no exact science when it comes to baseball managing. Like, not really. Unlike basketball, and definitely unlike football and hockey, there's no real philosophy with baseball managing. Not really. It's so fluid. It's so one-on-one. You can't set up a defense like you do in football. There's no specific way to attack like you do in football. You can have a pitching coach that has some tendencies in the way he works with pitchers. You can have a manager who favors small ball more than the TTO, but you've got 600 players in this league. Like, and there's turnover all the time. Like, you're not just building a small ball team anymore. It's not Billy Martin baseball. And so maybe it's just tougher than ever to go and find a manager, but more than any other sport, they are really turning away from the retread and saying, we're taking big risks. Remember, it started with the NBA with these players, right? Jason Kidd, freshly retired, became a coach. Steve Nash, same thing. Steve Nash was doing studio commentary for the Champions League and all of a sudden is a head coach in the NBA. Like, that's where baseball's going right now. And it seems like I'm mad at it, but I'm fascinated by it. Like, does this work? Does a 33-year-old manager take a last place team and give them something that all the other teams don't have because they have 50-year-old managers? You know what I mean? Like, there was some of that with the NBA, a former player who had just retired connects better with the players. Baseball's such an old school sport. Can you even do that? Is there that same connection issues? Bruce Bochy did a pretty good job 2 years ago. He's old as hell. I'm trying to wonder what the advantage is here. Baseball, more than any other sport, was always, you didn't have to be a major leaguer. You didn't have to be a good player. You could be a guy who didn't get out of single A. You could still be a good manager. And it was always about feel. It was never some strategy, and obviously there's more strategy than ever, I guess, but I'm talking way more feel than philosophy. So is this going to work? It's a bizarre move, in my opinion, but I'm fascinated to see how this works. A guy who is used to just having, 25 scholarships, now has 25 professional Major League Baseball players in San Francisco. Never coached pro ball in his life. He's just known as this fiery lunatic college baseball coach. I'm sure that'll flow seamlessly into the 162 game schedule of the major leagues. The 8-month-a-year job that it is managing in the major leagues. 8 months just in the dugout. I mean, it's more than that. Or this 33-year-old, or the guy from Fall River who's now managing the Orioles. To bring it back to Wicked Boston here, I don't know if you guys saw that video, but Barstool was calling it the most aggressive Boston accent you ever heard. And I listened to it for a second, and I said, that's not a Boston accent. No, that's a Fall River accent. And I got to Wikipedia this guy. Sure enough, Craig, whatever, Albarands, I think it is, Fall River, Massachusetts. It's not a Boston accent. It's not a New York accent. It's not a Connecticut accent. It is a mix of all three. It is the New Bedford accent. But anyway, let me know what you think about this new trend going on in Major League Baseball. I'm fascinated by it, but I don't know if I trust it. Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live on YouTube every weekday, live, noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week. We will see you tomorrow when we break down or look ahead to Patriots Falcons. We'll see you then on the Wicked Boston Show.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.